Hi everybody, it's Jenny from the Missouri Star Quilt Company, and I've got some exciting news for you. We are actually kitting up some of the quilts from our tutorials, and we've got one for today's quilt. So check it out. The link is in the description below. Hi everybody, it's Jenny from the Missouri Star Quilt Company, and I've got a great project for you today. This is going to change the way you look at a 2.5-inch strip, because we're going to turn this into a star block. And every quilter loves stars. So let's take a look at this quilt behind us. Isn't this gorgeous? We've got 4 stars across and 5 stars down, so we're making 20 stars. And I mean, it's just a great little quilt. So to make this quilt, what you're going to need is 22 2.5-inch strips, and we have used Artisan Batik Prisma dies by Lund Studios for Robert Kaufman, and you can see behind me, it's just a gorgeous line. You're also going to need some background fabric. You're going to need about 3¼ yards of fabric, and then for your little binding out here, you're just going to need 3/4 yard of whatever color you decide to use, and we've obviously used red, and it just kind of frames the whole thing and pops it. So I can hardly wait to show you how to make this, because I love that we can take this little strip and turn it into a whole big block. So to make this quilt, what you're going to do is you're going to take your 2.5-inch strip, and on batik fabrics, a lot of times you can't see that selvage. It just doesn't show up like it does on the other fabrics. But in most quilters, we automatically trim off that selvage. So you're going to go ahead and do that. My strip is folded in half, and so then what you're going to do is you're going to cut 4 4-inch strips and 4 6-inch strips. So we're going to take and cut our 4 right here. So there's 2, and here's 2. So we have 4 4-inch strips, and then we're going to have 4 6-inch strips. Whew, almost said the wrong thing there. So here's 6 inches right here. 1, 2. And then we're going to cut 2 more 6-inch strips. And then with this little leftover piece right here, you're going to cut this into a 2.5-inch square. So you're going to want to open that up and go ahead and cut a little 2.5-inch square. You'll want to save this, set this aside, because this goes right here. This is what these little 2.5-inch squares are for. All right, so then now you're going to cut your background fabric. You're going to cut a 4-inch strip, and out of that 4-inch strip, you're going to go ahead and cut 4-inch background squares. So we've got some 4-inchers here. We're just going to cut those just like that, and you'll need 4 of these for your block. For each block that you make, you'll need 4 of those. And I'm talking about blocks here. So when I talk about 4 6-inch pieces and 4 4-inch pieces, that's what you need for the block. So now we have 4 background squares, and then you're also going to need 8 2.5-inch squares. And I have a couple of pieces here. I'm just going to trim a couple of these into 2.5-inch squares, 8 of them. So there's 2, 4, 6, and 8. There we go. So again, just on a recap, you're going to need 4 4-inch squares cut from your 2.5-inch rectangles, and 4 6-inch rectangles cut from your strip. And also for that square, you're going to need 4 4-inch blocks. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you're going to need 8 2.5-inch squares right here. There's our 8 right there. So just that's for each block you do. That's what you're going to need. So let me show you how to put this together. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to dog ear all the corners of our blocks. That means we're going to take this 2.5-inch square and we're going to fold it on the diagonal, and we're going to press a sew line. You can finger press that. You can press it with the iron, or you can draw the line yourself. Now, what we have to remember on this when we do this is we are going to lay this on the top of our strip like this, and we're going to sew on the line, trim this part off, and fold this back. This is what I call dog-earing a square. So again, we're just going to put our square on top, sew on the line, trim that outside part off, and fold this back. Now, the only thing you have to remember about this is that all your longs, all your 6-inch strips have to go the same direction. It doesn't matter which direction, they just all have to go this same direction. So this is what I'm talking about right here. I just want to make sure you get this. So we're sewing them on, and they're all going to go this way. Now with our little 4-inch blocks, we're going to dog-ear them as well, but they have to be opposite. So just make sure they're going opposite. It doesn't matter which way they go, it matters that they're opposite. So let's go ahead and sew some of our blocks onto our strips, and I always do one set of strips at a time. So right now I'm going to do our 6-inch strips, and I'm going to make sure that they're all going the same direction, and I'm going to sew on my line from the top left to the bottom right, just like that. And I've got some stringage right here. There we go, just a little twist up. And we're going to do that to all 4 of these. So again, we're just going to lay our square on here, and we're going to sew from corner to corner, from the top left to the bottom right. So once you do this, you're going to sew right on that line. You're going to come over here and you're going to trim this off just like this. Just trim it about 1/4 inch. And then you're going to press this back just like this. Now you're going to do this to all 4 of your pieces. And I generally do mine one after the other to make sure that I'm going the same direction. So I'll do all of these. Then you're ready to do your small ones. So I want to put this over here so you can see the difference. And you just need to make sure that they're opposite. So this one, see how this one goes this way? This one I'm going to put on so it goes the opposite way, just like that. That's how you want them to look. You want them to be opposite, going the other directions. So this one, I'm actually going to sew from the top right to the bottom, or from the top right to the bottom left. I almost got my lefts and right mixed up. And you're going to do this to all 4 of your pieces as well. All right. So then once you get all your little ones done, you're going to again trim this off and then just iron this back. Right here, we're just going to gently press that back. And then all 4 of your small strips should look like this, and all 4 of your tall ones should look like this. So I have some of those done already over here. And what we're going to do, I'm going to show you how to build this block. So we're going to take our 4-inch square, and we are going to put our red right up to it. And we're going to put it so the color joins the background, just like that. We're going to take this and sew this on. So again, lay your color to the background and sew it down like this, 1/4 inch. So your small strip goes to the 4-inch square, and we're going to press that open. And then we're ready to bring in our tall guy. So our tall guy is going to come in, and he's going to go this way. So you always sew your color to your background and your color to your background. So we're going to put him over here and sew our color to the background, just like that. All righty. So you're going to make 4 of those. 4 of those that look just like this. And then guess what happens? Watch this. When you start to put those 4 together, look what you get. And how easy is that? So now you just put this together like a 4 patch. You're going to sew these 2 and these 2. And then you're going to sew those 2 half units together. And you've got a star block from a 2.5-inch strip. There we go. And one more piece. I love this block. I love that there's very little waste, and that you can do something unexpected from a pre-cut. You know, you weren't expecting to get a star out of this, and so I like that. I like it when that happens. Now when you sew this middle together, you want to try and match a little bit your where your star points come together. So just see if they make those kind of line up. And then your two middle seams, you will also want to line those up. It's going to be the same color, so it's all right if you're a tiny off, but you really want to try and get them as close together as you can. And I can do that I can feel that nesting with my fingers. If you can't, you'll want to pin it. All right, so now we have, look at that. So let's iron it, let's press it. And I like to press from the top, make sure I don't have any folds. And then I can flip it over and make sure my seams go the way I want them to, or whatever way they want to is fine with me as well. Alrighty, so here's our star block. Isn't that great? Well, let me see, just a minute. This is a little bit wonky, so let me straighten that out. Sometimes you get it over there in front of the camera and you go, whoa, that wasn't exactly what I was thinking of. All right, so there we go. Now it's nice and straight and you're ready to build your quilt. Let's look at our quilt behind us for a hint on that. Right here between every star, we have a sashing piece. Your sashing piece should measure the size of your block. So you're going to measure your block right here, and then you're going to take a sashing piece and put in between every star, just like this. And so as we add more stars here, there'll be another one, and you'll put a sashing piece like this, and another star, and you'll do that 4 across. So here's our 4, or here's 3, and then you're going to add, and you would do 4 because we've got 4 up here. Well, I guess I can put 4 in. I just know I don't have much room up here. There we go. All right. Now the next piece you're going to put in, once you get your star rows together, you're going to add this sashing strip. So your sashing strip is made up of one sashing piece that is the same size as your block again. So it's this same size, and one 2.5-inch block. And you're going to sew those together, and they're going to do this. So it's right here. So here's your row of stars with your sashing in between. Here's your row of your sashing row that has your little cornerstones in it. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense to everybody. And you're going to do 4 across, 5 down. Now we've just added a little 3-inch border out here of the background material, and that's included in the yardage that I said to you in the beginning. And when you're done, you're going to get a quilt that is 59 by 72. So it's a good size quilt, really fun, great idea to do with a 2.5-inch strip, which I love. One of the fun things for us that we're trying in this also is this is going to be available as a kit, which I think is really fun. It's the first time we've done anything like that. We're calling it Autumn Stars. So we hope you enjoy it, and we hope you enjoyed this tutorial on Autumn Stars from the Missouri Star Quilt Company. So once again, if you guys are interested in ordering this as a kit, you can find a link in the description below.